It was a cold night in Greenwich, New York, the kind of small-town quiet that feels almost too still. Street lights hummed softly over empty roads. Somewhere beyond the tree line, a lone house sat in shadow, its windows dark, its door unlocked. Inside that house, 12-year-old Jaliek Rainwalker was supposed to be sleeping. By morning, he was gone. No one has seen him since. They called it a runaway at first, a boy leaving a note of apology. But those who knew him, those who'd seen his smile, heard the way he said his name with that small speech quirk that made the letter R sound like W, they never believed he simply walked away. Jaliek was born on August 2nd, 1995, in Albany, New York. His life began in turmoil. His mother struggled with substance addiction, and before his second birthday, he was placed into foster care. From that point forward, his childhood unfolded in fragments. 5, sometimes 6 foster homes before the age of 7. Reports describe him as intelligent, artistic, and deeply emotional. He loved puzzles, animals, and reading aloud, even though he sometimes stumbled over words. But he also carried the scars of instability, moments of anger, deep sadness, and confusion that no child should have to manage alone. By 2003, after years in the system, a couple named Stephen Kerr and Jocelyn McDonald adopted him. They already had children of their own and had fostered others before. For a while, it seemed like Jaliek might finally have a place to call home. But the peace didn't last. The family lived in the rural quiet of Greenwich, New York, a small village where old farmhouses sit along winding roads, and everyone knows each other's names. Neighbors recall seeing Jaliek playing outside. Thin frame, bright eyes, his light brown hair catching the afternoon sun. But inside the home, things were complicated. According to social service records later obtained by reporters, Jaliek had behavioral difficulties. He sometimes lashed out, struggled to control anger, and there were incidents where his adoptive parents reportedly considered sending him back into temporary foster care. One foster parent later said Jaliek had come to stay with them briefly in late October 2007. They described him as sweet, polite, and calm, showing no signs he wanted to run away. Still, the arrangement ended when Stephen Kerr, his adoptive father, picked him up on October 31st, 2007. It was Halloween night. That would be the last confirmed time anyone outside the family saw Jaliek alive. Stephen Kerr later told police that Jaliek had been staying with him alone in a house the family owned on Hill Street in Greenwich. It wasn't their main home, more of an empty property used occasionally for family overflow. Kerr claimed that sometime after 10 p.m., Jaliek went to bed wearing blue jeans, a yellow fleece pullover, and black sneakers. When he awoke the next morning, Jaliek was gone. In his place, a note. "Dear everybody, I'm sorry for everything. I won't be a bother anymore. Goodbye, Jaliek." To Kerr, it looked like a runaway's apology. But the note raised more questions than answers. Its handwriting was inconsistent with Jaliek's earlier writing samples. And friends later told police they didn't believe he'd leave without contacting anyone. Especially not without his favorite possessions, or even his stuffed animal, which he took everywhere. When police arrived, they found no signs of forced entry, no packed bag, no cash taken. K-9 units searched the woods around Hill Street. Volunteers combed the riverbanks, the nearby Battenkill Creek, and surrounding farmland. For days, helicopters hovered overhead, while officers walked door to door. No scent trail was ever confirmed. No footprints, no credible sightings. On November 2, 2007, Jaliek Rainwalker was officially listed as a missing person. In the early stages, detectives considered the possibility that Jaliek had run away. But as the weeks passed, suspicion began to turn inward, toward Stephen Kerr. Investigators later revealed that Kerr and Jocelyn McDonald had not cooperated fully. They refused polygraph tests, declined to allow police to search their primary home, and, according to records, hired an attorney soon after the disappearance. Kerr told reporters he believed Jaliek was alive, that the boy had joined a self-styled underground network for runaways. He claimed Jaliek had once expressed admiration for freedom and people who lived on the road. But that claim was never supported by evidence. No emails, no texts, no confirmed communications were ever found after October 31st. A surveillance camera from a local bank captured Kerr's van driving through Greenwich in the early hours of November 2nd, roughly the same time he claimed to have been asleep. Detectives never publicly confirmed what he was doing. By 2012, the case was officially reclassified as a possible homicide. Stephen Kerr was named a person of interest, though never charged. Greenwich is the kind of town where people leave porch lights on long after the news crews go home. For years, residents organized search parties, candlelight vigils, and awareness walks. Posters of Jaliek, bright smile, green eyes, appeared in grocery stores, post offices, gas stations. As time passed, they weathered. Corners curled, colors faded, but they never disappeared. To this day, locals still mark November 1st as a quiet memorial, a reminder of the boy who vanished. Among them, Barbara Reynolds, a former family acquaintance, took up the cause. She founded the Justice for Jaliek group, raising funds for billboards and awareness campaigns. She told reporters, "He's not forgotten. Someone knows something. Someone always knows something." Over the years, three main theories have emerged. Theory 1, he ran away. Those who believe this point to the note left behind and Jaliek's history of moving between homes. They suggest he may have sought independence or fled emotional turmoil. But after nearly 2 decades, there's never been a confirmed sighting. No use of Social Security, no school records, no online trace. Nothing consistent with a child surviving on his own. Theory 2, an accident. Perhaps Jaliek left the house briefly, angry or confused, and suffered an accident near water or dense forest. Search teams have covered hundreds of acres with drones, sonar, and K9 units. Yet no trace, clothing, or remains have ever been found. Theory 3, foul play. This is the theory most investigators lean toward, that something happened the night of October 31st inside that Hill Street house, that the note was staged, that Jaliek never made it out alive. In 2012, police executed a search warrant at the Kerr-McDonald home. They removed computers, storage devices, and other potential evidence. The results were never made public, but officials confirmed the investigation remained active. To this day, Stephen Kerr maintains his innocence. He says he continues to believe Jaliek will return when he's ready. But others, including extended relatives, disagree. One grandmother publicly accused him of knowing more than he admits, and a few former friends say they've struggled for closure, haunted by the silence surrounding the case. As the case grew cold, Jaliek's story spread quietly online, on forums, podcasts, true crime blogs. Each anniversary brings a small wave of renewed attention, and in October 2024, hope flickered again when skeletal remains were discovered near Troy, New York, roughly an hour from Greenwich. For a moment, some feared the worst, but DNA tests ruled out any connection to Jaliek. 17 years later, his face is still on missing person databases, now digitally age-progressed to show what he might look like as an adult. Somewhere between child and man, a face imagined, not remembered. To talk about Jaliek purely in investigative terms misses the essence of who he was. He was a boy who loved board games, orange juice, and laughing at cartoons. He collected rocks, dreamed of being a scientist, and once told a social worker he wanted to find lost things. He was 12, still learning what family meant, still figuring out how to trust it. His story is not just a mystery. It's a measure of how easily vulnerable children can disappear from view. In the years since, New York's foster care system has faced scrutiny. Advocates cite Jaliek's case as a symbol of systemic failure. A boy moved too many times, never fully settled, and ultimately lost in the cracks between families and files. It's easy, from a distance, to think of Jaliek Rainwalker as a headline, but in the quiet of Greenwich, his absence lingers like a breath that never leaves the room. Today, investigators say the case remains active. Tips still come in, though rarely. Leads are followed, searches quietly continued, but no arrests have been made. The official stance: presumed homicide, body not recovered. Yet, in a small way, the town still waits. The yellow fleece he wore that night has become a symbol, a marker of hope, even after years of unanswered questions. If Jaliek is out there, he'd be 30 today. An entire lifetime between the last photograph and the man he might have become. The story of Jaliek Rainwalker isn't just about disappearance. It's about visibility. How some lives fade faster than others when the world stops watching. But stories like this keep the light alive. Because maybe someone remembers a face. Maybe someone remembers a car, a sound, a moment that didn't feel right on that November night. And maybe, one day, that memory will be enough. If you have any information about the disappearance of Jaliek Rainwalker, contact the New York State Police at 51869-29332 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. 17 years is a long time, but some questions never expire. Where is Jaliek Rainwalker? And who holds the key to the night he vanished? Until there are answers, his story remains one of too many in the chronicles of the unsolved. If you believe stories like this matter, if you believe every missing person deserves to be found, and every question deserves an answer, subscribe to this channel. We tell the stories others stop talking about.